From the director of such thought-provoking and imaginative films as Being John Malkovich and Adaptation, Spike Jonze brings us his fourth feature film, Her, an engaging romantic drama that presents to us questions about our cultural ideas of love and our relationship with modern technology, in addition to existential concerns of being and identity. Joaquin Phoenix stars as Theodore Twombly, a lonely, sad mopey cat who's dealing with his upcoming divorce from his wife Catherine, played by Rooney Mara. Yearning for some kind of meaningful and emotional connection, Theo goes out and purchases a sentient, artificially intelligent OS who names itself Samantha, voiced by Scarlett Johansson. And immediately afterwards, Theo and Samantha develop an honest-to-goodness romantic relationship, thus living out the lyrics to Zapp's classic song, Computer Love. Computer Love! Now, if you judge this film from its relatively wacky premise alone, you might be thinking, geez, a guy who falls in love with his computer? How sad is that? As you bury your face in your expensive smartphone. And if this film was handled differently, perhaps as a brainless, raunchy comedy about a guy who spent all of his time visiting malware-infested porn sites, then yeah, you might have a point. So it's a fortunate thing that thanks to Spike Jonze's thoughtful handling of his story, along with Joaquin Phoenix's affecting performance, the character of Theo isn't some walking punchline for us to cast our snarky judgments on. Rather, his relationship with Samantha is, in its own way, a tender and emotionally fulfilling connection that fosters genuine growth and insight for both parties, much like a standard human-to-human relationship in real life. Well, for the most part anyway, as some people have about as much chemistry as snails and salt, as evidenced by the characters of Amy, played by same-name Adams, and her pedantic husband. One of the elements that stood out to me in Her is the thematic parallel between Samantha's role in Theo's life and his own day job. Theo writes beautifully crafted love letters for people and sends them on their behalf, thus functioning as their voice, or OS, so to speak. He can say things to their loved ones that would otherwise be left unsaid, and he's so adept at his work that one of his coworkers compliments his poetic skill in crafting such moving messages. Samantha, in a similar vein, initially functions as Theo's voice of his own desires, but gradually develops her own complex personality, complete with her own thoughts, feelings, and desires. I found it rather interesting that Theo's line of work could still be seen as viable in a world where sentient OSs could just as easily perform his duties, undoubtedly much more efficiently. I see this as one of the film's subtle ways of reminding us that no matter how sophisticated an AI could be, no matter how far we venture past the uncanny valley, the human touch can never lose its necessity when it comes to dealing with matters of the heart. On the flip side, the fact that such a business exists in the world of the film is ironic in itself. Can't tell someone how you truly feel? Hey, hire an actor. As I watched Theo and Sam's relationship blossom, I was reminded of Ryan Gosling's 2007 film, Lars and the Real Girl, in which he develops a romantic attachment to a sex doll. Listen, it's more wholesome than it sounds, okay? Watch that film too, it's a sweet story. Anyway, Sam and Theo's connection also brings to mind Mass Effect 3, specifically the relationship between Joker and EDI, the bodiless AI from Mass Effect 2 who inhabits a sleek, synthetic feminine body in the third game. As with EDI, Samantha often questions the very nature of her being. She wonders if her own thoughts and feelings are legitimate, or if they are merely the result of her programming. At one point in the film, her curiosity of existing through a tangible body beyond her binary domain of ones and zeros drives her to take her intimacy with Theo to uncharted territory. And all the while, as I was watching Theo taking Sam on different dates, showing her the world up close and personal, I was still drawn into their delightful moments as if I was watching a standard couple on screen. And then I thought, does it really matter if Samantha's feelings are her programming at work? After all, we're seeing Theo gain some much needed emotional fulfillment as well as his OS, so isn't the fact that she is perceiving her own feelings answer enough? One other question. Are our personas and very identities our own creations, or are they the working results of our cultures and environments? How we view love and how we react to it, good or bad, is all of that merely learned and emulated? Okay, that's two questions, but it's something to make you go, Her, in addition to being a captivating romantic narrative, is also a commentary on the current state of affairs between ourselves and technology. There's one scene in particular in which dozens of people are walking alongside one another, their individual attentions totally wrapped in their handheld OSs and accompanying earpieces. Everyone is simultaneously aware and unaware of each other's presence. You could go just about anywhere and literally count off dozens of people immersed in their smartphones or tablets and ubiquitous white earbuds, or ludicrously stupidly expensive headphones endorsed by popular music producers. Theo summarizes this interpersonal disconnect when he confides in Samantha at one point in the film, saying, quote, "Sometimes I think I have felt everything I'm ever gonna feel. And from here on out, I'm not gonna feel anything new, just lesser versions of what I've already felt." You know, after the end credits began rolling, I heard one woman who sat a couple of rows ahead of me remark to her friend that she found the film very disturbing, which made me think for a moment. You know, what would be more disturbing? Theo finding some happiness with his computer in an otherwise harmless relationship, or him wallowing in self-pity, facing one rejection after another from multiple romantic partners? Would it be less disturbing for him if he, say, bounced into another human relationship in the midst of his divorce and experienced the same painful traumas twice over? You know, maybe the normal and less disturbing option would be for him to find solace at the bottom of multiple shot glasses. But hey, given what we see in Her, who are we to judge? With an intelligent screenplay, a great performance by Joaquin Phoenix, and some mighty fine voice work by Scarlett Johansson, Her succeeds as one of the most distinctive romantic comedy dramas since 2004's Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. And I recommend this film wholeheartedly, and if you have seen this film, please, I'd love to hear what you think. Leave your thoughts in the comments below, or send me a friendly tweet. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I'm Victor Omoayo, and you can find more video essay goodness and reviews on my V Knowledge channel.